From a New York Times article from a Defense Department briefing concerning retrievals from, and I quote, off-world vehicles not made on this earth. Now how about that? Hello from the Mojave Spaceport here in Southern California. By now we've all read the New York Times article. No longer in shadows, Pentagon's UFO unit will make some findings public. Astonishing. If you haven't read the report so far, the links will be below. But today's video is about the next question. With that disclosure yesterday, we really have to take seriously other disclosures in the past that the government flat out denied. Like the May 2001 disclosure at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C., full of admirals, full of generals, industry insiders, all with high-level clearances that had something very important to say. What about the reports of a crashed UFO in Roswell? Well, how did we retrieve these off-world vehicles? You got to look at Roswell now with kind of a clearer eye and much less skepticism. What about Bob Lazar? His story has maintained credibility for decades. We really got to look at what he has to say, I think. Let's take a good hot minute to talk about Bob Lazar. Bob Lazar was the famous, or infamous, engineer that worked at Los Alamos National Laboratory, disassembling and reverse engineering alien spacecraft retrieved from someplace on Earth. The United States government has spared no expense slandering Bob Lazar's name. And if you just look at what Bob Lazar says, not all the other embellishment that other people have lumped onto his name. I mean, with such a fantastic story, do you really need, if you just look at the words that's coming out of Bob Lazar's mouth, do you really need to embellish that? Like at all? Really? Bob claims that he was graduate of MIT. MIT says, oh no, we don't know any Bob Lazar, yet there's ample evidence that he was there. Bob Lazar said he worked at Los Alamos National Laboratory working on this project. And Los Alamos says, oh no, we don't know any. Who? What? Who's this Bob Lazar? Yet there he is on the front page of the Los Alamos National Lab newspaper with his rocket car, front page, stating that our employee, Bob Lazar, he's in the phone book for the building S4, where all of this disassembly took place. And just that alone should vindicate the man. What his claims are, if you just stick to what he says, should be, there's no need to embellish it. The most outlandish thing he said was, I reversed engineered and dismantled spaceships not made of this Earth. Now I think, especially after it matches what he said back 40 years ago, jives with all the disclosures we've had since. It's part of a seamless story, at least in my mind. As Harry Reid has commented, and as the briefing to the U.S. Department of Defense has been quoted, and as the consultant to the Department of Defense has said, these are vehicles, we are examining the remnants of them that have crashed on Earth. Somebody had to do it. Why not Bob Lazar? And people, have said, oh, there's no way the United States could keep this a secret for so long. Well, they kind of haven't, have they? I mean, if you look at it from a logical point of view, there's been leaks all over the place. But there also has been a Herculean effort to tamp all this down. Threats of violence, threats of death, arrest, charges of treason have all been lumped on countless people. But yet we have disclosure after disclosure after disclosure. People that were there. And we have evidence that they were there. People with high security clearances that actually had those security clearances. Admirals, generals, all of these people have been telling us the truth all this time. These admirals and generals, they took an oath to the Constitution. Maybe there's something quite unconstitutional going on that we don't know about. And maybe we do need to be informed. But either way, I think the cat's out of the bag now. With this disclosure, we have to look back at all the things that we have been told was false by the government. That's been denied. Oh, this couldn't have possibly. No, it was a weather balloon. It was swamp gas. Now, admittedly, there's a lot of crazy crap out there. A lot of crazy crap. But I encourage everybody to look at it with a scientific point of view. A scientific lens. And that scientific lens will help us separate the crazy from the credible. And with what the U.S. Navy has told us over those last couple of years, especially yesterday, the credible is looking kind of awesome. The incredible is fantastic. And the gentleman from the disclosure meeting at the National Press Club in May of 2001, nothing really out of the ordinary there, considering the latest disclosures. The story of Bob Lazar and even the crash at Roswell, New Mexico. All kind of link up now. But what's the next question? That's what we're going to answer here today, or try to answer, or at least think of what the question is. You know, after this disclosure, micro disclosure, I will admit, where do we go from here? Before we can answer what's next, we have to build a list of assumptions based on credible witnesses, people that have been saying the same story for decades that's now been backed up in the New York Times and the Office of Naval Intelligence. What are our assumptions? So let's examine those. Well, the biggest one, the big, huge one is life on other planets. Life on other planets. And we're not talking about single-celled organisms. We're not talking about space fungus or tardigrades, bless their little hearts. They're so cute. We're talking about intelligent species capable of amazing engineering feats that are here on Earth. And as far as their exploration of the solar system, we don't think they're coming from Pluto. No evidence of that. And we have so many questions about these, whoever the pilots are. Are they carbon-based? Are they silicon-based? Because we see so many types of these ships, does that mean there's lots of models available for space travel on their planet? Or are these multiple galactic civilizations? Multiple intelligent, sentient civilizations? Does that mean that the Milky Way has several, if not many, intelligent spacefaring civilizations? Is that what that means? Don't know. But we kind of have to legitimately ask ourselves that question. We can safely assume that they have some sort of faster than light travel, something that can actually go 300,000 kilometers a second or more. I think not a reasonable assumption to assume that they've spent their entire lives, unless their lives are tens of thousands of years, flying at sublight speeds just to cruise above the ocean and tease naval aviators. I don't think that's it. Then clearly this shows that they have mastered the technology to allow faster than light travel. And that should just blow anybody's mind, but all of this should blow your mind. You know, so how do you get around E equals mc squared? Energy equals the mass times the speed of light squared. You know, if you listen to Bob Lazar, he was considering that he was putting forth that maybe, one theory might be, some sort of warp drive, some sort of focused gravity envelope that the spaceship can fall into and propel itself forward, easily circumventing E equals mc squared. Essentially, as you Star Trek fans would call it, warp drive. And there are scientists at NASA and defense contractors all around the world looking at how to build like some sort of gravity phenomenon in front of a ship to propel it forward without suffering the horrible effects of relativistic space travel. And also, the way these things maneuver, you have to consider another level of technology that they've developed, and that would be inertial dampeners. You know, with the, what I would call harsh maneuvers that we've seen in the naval tapes, going forward and then making a quick 90 degrees abrupt transition, that's a whole lot of inertia to absorb. No human could withstand that and live. It would do severe body damage. It would break bones, liquefy your brain, it would burst organs. It would instantly kill you. So we have to assume, from the evidence we have so far, is that they have some sort of an inertial dampener technology. And this brings us all to the real question. What are we really talking about here? Why are they here? They can't be mining anything that we know of that's valuable. We've noticed no evidence of that. The only thing we've seen them do is flying and engaging in our aircraft for quite a long time. They can't be here for the hydrogen. Hydrogen is the most plentiful element in the entire universe. You don't have to go far to get it. It's everywhere. Can't be water. There's plenty of worlds full of water. There's like 4 or 5 here in the solar system. Crevices of the moon have water. So it can't be water. It can't be the nitrogen, it can't be the nickel, it can't be the phosphorus, it can't be the sulfur. Those elements are everywhere. But why they're here is the real big question. Why here? That we don't know. Why here? That was not disclosed. We've had lots of other disclosures, mostly technical in nature, because if they're here, it means a whole lot of things. But we don't know why. We don't know why they're here. There's nothing in this that said why. Like nothing at all. So until we're able to have a dialogue with these beings, we don't know why they're here. Maybe we've already had that dialogue. Maybe that hasn't been disclosed yet. Be sure interested to see what they had to say, if we could even understand them. I mean, a Defense Department briefing talking about retrievals of off-world vehicles not made on this earth. Can you imagine? Well, I've been imagining all night. Couldn't sleep at all, but after I read this yesterday. I haven't been able to sleep. I've tossed, turned. Got up, wrote all my little notes, my note cards. So that's it here from the Mojave Spaceport here in Southern California. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like what I'm doing on the channel, please subscribe. If you've got any comments, just drop those in below. And until next time, I'll be your lab partner. Take care. Bye-bye. That brings us to the next question.